Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a literal blueprint journey. We are going to explore exactly how those massive pie-in-the-sky corporate visions get translated all the way down to the actual boots-on-the-ground marketing tactics. If you've ever found yourself wondering how the world's most successful brands consistently build such deep engagement and, actually deliver incredible value to their customers, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to deconstruct this entire process, literally layer by layer. So here's our map for today's deep dive. We'll start with the strategic planning blueprint, move into designing the business portfolio, check out strategies for brand growth, explore value chains and networks, and then finally hit the marketing mix strategy. Let's kick things off right at the top with Section 1, the strategic planning blueprint and defining the company mission. At the absolute highest level, we have strategic planning. This is basically the art of aligning an organization's overarching goals with constantly changing market opportunities, and it follows 4 structural steps. First up, you define the corporate mission. Second, you set the objectives and goals. Third, you design the business portfolio. And finally, step 4, down at the business unit level, you plan your marketing strategies. The key thing to remember here is that everything downstream is directly guided by those first few foundational steps. Okay, so step 1, the mission. A true market-oriented mission isn't just a list of what a company produces. It's way deeper than that. It's about the organization's ultimate purpose, what it actually wants to accomplish in the larger environment. The absolutely crucial point here is that, much like your marketing strategy, the broader company strategy has got to be heavily customer-focused. It's not just about making things, it's about solving real problems and providing tangible value. Let's look at a real-world example, CVS. You probably look at them and think, okay, right, they're a pharmacy, they sell medicine, maybe some household goods, but CVS Health's overall mission is actually to be a healthcare innovation company. Their stated driving purpose is helping people on their way to better health. So that sets the stage. Every single downstream marketing strategy they run has to support that specific, highly customer-centric vision. Now, once that mission is locked in, you move to step 2, which is setting objectives and goals. You've got your business objectives, things like improving overall profits or investing heavily in research, and then you have your marketing objectives, like increasing market share or building out local partnerships. Take Heinz, for example. Their overall objective isn't just sell more ketchup. It's to build profitable customer relationships. And how do they do that? By developing foods that are superior in quality, taste, nutrition, and convenience. They are taking taste and convenience and blending them into a unified wellness mission. The corporate objective seamlessly informs the everyday marketing reality. Which brings us to our next section, designing the business portfolio. Or, as I like to think of it, managing the brand city. This represents step 3, the business portfolio. And this is managed through what we call strategic business units, or SBUs. What's actually kind of mind-blowing here is just the sheer complexity of some of these portfolios. Think about Johnson & Johnson. We all know them for Band-Aids, right? Baby shampoo, Tylenol. But the massive bulk of their revenue actually comes from medical devices and pharmaceuticals. Balancing all of that requires incredibly careful management. So, to manage these diverse SBUs, leadership has to conduct portfolio analysis to figure out which ones are actually attractive. Traditionally, this was done using matrix approaches, but let's be real about the friction here. Matrix approaches can be an absolute headache. Defining the SBUs and accurately measuring market share is tough, it's time-consuming, it's really expensive, and honestly, they often fall apart in markets that are facing rapid structural changes or massive disruptions. Because of all this, a lot of companies have actually ditched formal matrix methods altogether, opting instead for customized approaches that better fit their unique situations. That being said, you really can't talk about portfolio analysis without tipping your hat to the most famous matrix of them all, the Boston Consulting Group or BCG approach. This iconic growth share matrix evaluates a company's SBUs based on 2 simple dimensions, market growth rate and relative market share, and it sorts them into 4 perfectly named categories. You've got your stars, high growth, high share. Your cash cows, low growth but high share, basically funding the rest of the operation. Your question marks, high growth but low share. And finally, your dogs, low growth, low share. It's just a brilliant visual way to map out exactly where a company's resources need to flow today and where they need to go tomorrow. All right, now that we know what a portfolio looks like, let's explore Section 3, strategies for brand growth. This is all about how companies expand their map. Companies are always actively manipulating their portfolios to capture new growth, right? And the essential navigational chart they use for this is the product/market expansion grid. This is a tool that basically forces management to look systematically at their existing products, potential new products, existing markets, and potential new markets, all to sniff out those strategic company growth opportunities. Let's look at how this builds out in the real world. Starbucks is a perfect example. To maintain its completely incredible trajectory, Starbucks brewed up, pun intended, a multi-pronged growth strategy. By looking at new products and new markets simultaneously over the course of 3 decades, they successfully expanded their brand footprint from a tiny, single coffee shop in Seattle into an over $24 billion global powerhouse. I mean, that is the expansion grid in action. But listen, smart strategy isn't just about aggressive, endless growth. You also have to know when to pull back. Downsizing is an absolutely crucial part of portfolio management. This happens when a company realizes, hey, we need to prune, harvest, or completely divest businesses that are unprofitable. Or sometimes it's just units that no longer fit the overarching strategic blueprint. Think of it like a gardener. You have to trim the dead branches if you want to keep the main tree healthy. So we've talked a lot about the corporate boardroom, the mission statements, the portfolio matrices, but that brings us to a massive practical question. How do these super high-level corporate strategies actually reach you, the customer? Let's zoom in a bit further. This takes us directly to Section 4, Value Chains and Networks. Think of this as the connective tissue of our blueprint. You see, marketing absolutely cannot act in a silo. To actually deliver customer value, a company relies on its value chain, which is a series of internal departments carrying out all those value-creating activities to design, produce, market, and deliver the product. But it goes way wider than just internal teams. It extends into what's called a value delivery network. This network is made up of the company, its external suppliers, its distributors, and ultimately the customers themselves. It's an entire ecosystem, all partnering together to improve the performance of the whole system. The crucial takeaway here is that this requires intense coordination. Take Airbus, for example. To maintain a truly profitable customer relationship, Airbus marketers don't just sit in a room by themselves. They work incredibly closely with finance, with design, with production, and with the service departments. They're engaged in a highly coordinated value creation and delivery process over time. That internal and external partnering is exactly what allows the total company team to fulfill their promise and help their airline customers truly own the sky. And finally, we arrive at Section 5, the marketing mix strategy. This is the final, hyper-specific layer, the boots on the ground. At this level, you start by taking a massive, diverse market and carving it up. That's market segmentation. Then, through market targeting, you evaluate and select exactly which of those distinct groups you actually want to go after. And finally, through market positioning, you engineer your product to occupy a highly specific, very desirable place in the minds of those targeted consumers. Let's bring this positioning concept to life. Look at a brand like Harry's Razors. Harry's operates as what we call a nicher. They deliberately position themselves to focus on direct-to-consumer sales of high-quality shaving products. They target a specific, value and convenience-oriented segment of buyers that were basically being ignored or at least not well served by massive giants like Gillette. Or think about Del Monte, who positions their brand to occupy a clear, distinctive place in the consumer's mind, giving them the greatest possible advantage in their target markets. It's all about finding your specific spot and totally dominating it. Once your position is locked, you execute using the marketing mix. These are your controllable tactical tools: product, price, place, and promotion. The strategy here is all about how you uniquely blend these 4 elements to trigger the exact response you want from the market. When you blend them perfectly, those tactics yield that profitable customer relationship we talked about all the way back in step 1. So we've zoomed all the way from the highest corporate mission statement down to the specific price and promotion of a single product. It's all one beautifully connected blueprint. But it leaves us with one final, vital thought to reflect on today. When you look at your own business, or even just your favorite brands out there in the world, is the strategy truly customer value driven at every single level? Or are they just selling products? Think about that blueprint. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.